separating negativity from paranoia while tapering an SSRI, sertraline withdrawal, and the fear of meeting my old self again. By Peak Afflatus. 18 months after a collapse that shattered my sense of self, I felt ready to test my balance without the crutch that had carried me since. Sertraline, an antidepressant commonly branded as Zoloft, had softened the fallout of my depression and breakdown. Recovery had been a slow climb over uneven ground, but my stability was renewed, despite a chemical cheat code propping me up. A week into halving my sertraline dose, ghosts of the past returned. An air of uncertainty crept in. Are my friends really my friends, or are they just feeling sorry for me? Do they like the drug-altered version of me, and will they drift away if I slide back into who I was before? Are my new interests truly mine, or will their shine fade as the drug does? The overlap between negativity and paranoia feels similar, though their roots differ. Depression can twist them together, making them hard to separate. Negativity expects bad outcomes, assumes the worst, and feeds on self-doubt. Paranoia, by contrast, centers on fear and suspicion of others' harm or betrayal. Negativity spreads wide. Nothing works. People do not like me. Paranoia narrows into specifics. Is this person plotting? Is that person watching? Low mood, self-esteem, and pessimism can blur into distorted threat perception. The overlap of unease and distrust is where things get murky, as negativity primes ambiguous cues to be read in a paranoid way. A key distinction is that paranoia often lingers even when mood lifts, because it is rooted less in self-worth and more in how the world is perceived. As sertraline muted my baseline negativity, it may also have dulled the bite of paranoia. In that sense, it masked the emotional distress tied to suspicious thought patterns. Untangling mood from suspicion gives me pause. I fear returning to the old me, but I know that is not really possible. Like trauma or a broken bone, you may appear to return to your old self, but in reality, you are changed. The bone is harder to break, and the lessons you have learned guard against a repeat. Recovery takes time. It may be 6 to 12 months before a new baseline emerges, when the fallout of withdrawal muddles with the nervous system's search for balance. As a layman trying to grasp serotonin reuptake, I picture it as a drug lending you fitness. You have the muscles and stamina without doing the work. Then you stop taking it, and the sedentary effects strike with a vengeance. Ahead lies the long road of patient effort to bring your body back to its natural state. Having now experienced a softer outlook and a quieter inner critic, the concern is real. While paranoia may have softened, it is not gone, because it is a thought pattern rather than a mood. Yet it may also be true that paranoia was mood-driven all along. The drug may leave the bloodstream within a week, but the nervous system needs months to find its balance again. In the first month, withdrawal has felt flu-like, with irritability and vivid dreams. Over the next few months, moods lurch and shift as the system recalibrates. After long-term use, it may take close to a year to fully align with natural rhythms. The saving grace is that the psychological growth and coping strategies sertraline allowed me to practice will remain once the drug is gone. The old me cannot fully return. Too much has been learned, and too many scars have strengthened. What remains is not a relapse into who I was, but a slow uncovering of who I have become. I realize I owe it to myself to reveal who that is. Even with my partner's concern that our relationship might strain as a result, it feels like the right time to check in on my future self's progress, and perhaps let go of the crutch that once supported my healing. Week 1 at half dose was manageable. When doubt, lethargy, and worry creep in, I look for healthier ways to quiet them, whether through time outdoors or through writing. I'm still in this strange post-breakdown period that continues to reshape my life. I question my choices or my lack of them. How long can I resist the pull of a traditional working week? Do I continue stripping life back to bare essentials, reducing my outlay and easing the pressure to keep pace with peers? Perhaps there is no right answer beyond the one that suits me. Yet I am wary of naive realism, the belief that my outlook is the only clear one. My own bias led me to collapse, and it was the perspectives of others that helped me out of it. Untangling the two feels like its own art form, a balance I have come to think of as knowing ignorance. Week 2, I felt myself losing patience, short and snappy as my tolerance eroded. I can feel my partner's concern, but also resent any mention that withdrawal is to blame. Excusing themselves with my side effects only exacerbates my irritation. Am I never allowed to be simply annoyed again? Chewing it over reminds me that anxiety is lurking. Is that what is making me nauseous, worry? Or is my body simply suffering from the chemical shift? Emotional sensitivity is creeping in too. A client offered me the run of their place at a popular holiday destination. They know nothing of my tapering. All I'd done was politely and pragmatically proof some work, and they provided dates they were away, welcoming me to make the most of their lifestyle. The kindness and timing moved me. They knew I'd broken down some time ago and lost my job. They'd had similar life-changing battles. Perhaps they sensed I still hadn't returned to employment. Maybe my muted socials intimated as much, but the serendipity was palpable. Would I take up the offer? Should I? The following day I felt confusingly positive listening to music, while sadness washed through me with a nostalgic comfort. I hovered over my internal states like a babysitter, anxious about every way their charge might come to harm. Week 3 settled into a new baseline, more drive, more confidence in my ability to continue the taper. At a quarter dose, I felt I was getting off lightly from the list of potential pitfalls. There's something else, too, a lack of excuses. An autonomy and responsibility to make more of life, not simply to ride the carousel and hope for a good turn, but to shape a life with a mind no longer at the mercy of my own misery. You have been listening to Peak Afflatus.